I'm glad that my next guest is in studio because we've been having some phone issues here at the building. So I appreciate the head coach over at UNCW Track and Field, Jeff Klaves. Jeff, good morning. How are you?
Hey, doing great. This is what I'm hawking about. I'm Seahawk through and through, Navy and Teal. And, just pumped to be on.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming in. You guys have a big event coming up this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday. The only home meet of the year. You guys do a lot of traveling, I would imagine, with all these different meets.
Yeah, so track and field program, we generally plan a meet every other week.
Okay.
And so, for us, we're always in kind of this situation where beach, great location, people want to come. We strategically ask to host our home meet during kind of spring break so other teams can come on down.
Okay.
And this is opening weekend for the outdoor track and field season. It's kind of a crossover where indoor track has nationals next week. If and when we have athletes qualify for that, they still would go to that meet. But this is our community kickoff. We love hosting at our home track. It's a 2-day event coming up on March 1st and 2nd.
Now for the biggest difference, I would imagine, I don't know a ton of the track, a lot of the track stuff, but I know that when you talk about outdoors, there's, the wind resistance, when you're talking about times and those kind of things. Is that the biggest difference, just the outdoor elements when you're talking about throwing events and running and jumping?
Yeah, and, here's, one of my mantras that I tell the kids all the time. It's control the controllables. Obviously when you're indoors, you're going to have no wind.
Yeah.
It's going to be temperature controlled. And then when you get outdoors, you got to have this mindset to handle anything. And us being right here on the beach, there's always going to be some level of wind.
Right.
We feel blessed when, you walk out and you're like, what's going on? Is there no wind today? But we actually, we've learned to deal with wind, rain, even a little bit of the, I'd say, sleet at times. It doesn't snow too much down here. It'll shut down the world. But yeah, outdoors is awesome. And you truly value those sunny days. And, there's even kind of going into my coaching philosophy, how this all kind of mixes is, it's all about opportunities. And so every single time we get to start our season at our home meet to recognize our seniors, welcome back our alumni, invite the community, it's just a great chance to showcase all the work that they've put in to this year so far.
And I imagine, Jeff, when you look at the season, the outdoor season, you talk about being down here at the beach and all the nice weather and stuff we have. That's got to be a nice little break because I'm sure for your athletes they would rather probably do some of that running and do some of the work outside if they can because it gets a little boring just sitting in the room all day running.
Yeah. And, for us, we're outdoors all the time.
Yeah.
The only time we generally go indoors is for some treatment, or to lift.
Right.
And so anytime I've even talking to an athlete who's, thinking about UNCW or here right now, we have the ability to train outdoors all year long. And I think, when we do get an inclement weather day, it actually makes us more resilient to be ready for those moments. Me being the head coach, I specifically coach, obviously all the events have the capability of doing that, but have a great staff. My primary event is throws. And so say an example, if it rains, I call it flood the ring day. We'll go ahead, pull the hose, throw some buckets, throw some water in there because outdoors you may come into that. Yeah. And you just got to be ready for anything and not let, that outside noise kind of affect what you're trying to do in the moment.
And I would imagine, you talked about control the controllables, in every event, but I would imagine a lot in those throws. Your technique is so important, and sometimes it might be a muddy circle, and you have to know how you got to do that throw and be ready to be in that mindset of doing everything in your power, doing it the right way.
Yeah, and, obviously with track, cross country, all those sports that I've got the opportunity to coach, we've got essentially, distance running that happens all fall with cross country.
Right.
We transition to women's indoor track, and then now as we get to outdoor, we have the full team. We got all the men, all the women competing in all the running, jumping, throwing events. This week, I'm always, mantras come up, and you're having these conversations with your athletes going into meets, and I've said, guys, hey, I'm the cheat code, trying to help you along the way. Eventually, they've always got to be the one to do it. They're stepping,
right.
Obviously in the circle, on the runway, in the blocks and getting things rolling for themselves. But, the thing we're always just trying to share is experience. And, that's why, this home meet, I can't tell you enough, it means so much to us in our program because, we want to set the tone. We want to showcase, what we've done. And, this week been talking to my seniors a bunch, and what a legacy they're leaving.
Yeah.
This program, I'm going into my 5th season, and I've always been very purposeful, almost like Phil Jackson, the Chicago Bulls with mission statements. And I remember seeing The Last Dance, and I was like, man, I didn't know I was doing that. Phil Jackson was doing that like me. So obviously shout out to the mentors that didn't even know they were mentors, but thanks, Phil. And for me, it always started out with like doing it right, do right by the people you have. And then when we got post-pandemic, hey, let's start doing our job, get back to track and field, understand what it takes to be successful. And then I truly challenged the team to be, track and field is one where you can achieve anywhere.
Yeah.
If you've got the, essentially the opportunity in front of you, and I challenged them to finally who's going to be the one. Yeah. And, we ended up having 3 NCAA qualifiers, which kind of blasted us onto the national scene. And then now if I go the last 3 years, we had 3, then 6 NCAA qualifiers. And then we actually had an athlete last year that qualified for the NCAA finals for the first time since 96, 97. Wow. So building some momentum, obviously rolling all in the right direction, but it's from the investment of the people from within.
Jeff Klaves, coach of the track and field and cross-country teams at UNCW. They have a home meet tomorrow and Saturday over there on campus. You mentioned, it's up to the athletes and they can go out there. That is the case because, in basketball, in football, we've seen there's, if you're not in a Power 5 or whatever, but if you're an athlete and you're running and you're throwing, you can reach the top. The only person that's in your way is you in this case. Like, you really can compete at that national level. And you kind of alluded to a little bit, in the time I've been doing this show and having Mike Vaccaro on every week, I try to stay up to date on everything going on with you guys. And I know as a coach, all your kids are special. You don't want to single out anybody. But Josh Parks is an absolute machine and a really... an absolutely bright spot, a star in not just track and field, but I think UNCW athletics.
Yeah, and speaking about Josh, it's been the investment over time.
Yeah.
A lot of people see the success that he has, right now. The first thing I always think about is those moments when he was injured, not racing, or not having the opportunity to train, and what he was doing behind the scenes just to have the opportunity to get back on the track again. And for what he was able to achieve, it's just a testament all to the work that he put in. And, when you think of, what is mid-major what are you trying to do, when you're trying to knock and take on these Power 5 schools, we're all trying to make noise. And it starts with, obviously, our ball sports down to, obviously, what we're doing in track. We have the chance to emerge on the scene if we believe, number one, and then we're just absolutely relentless. And, that kind of talks about Josh's career. And, last year, him being, at the national meet, obviously LSU, whoever team is left and right,
sure.
You have Josh. And he earned absolutely every chance and every opportunity he had, and now we just want to get back to that same moment. And the things he's doing now as a leader for the team is just modeling and inspiring those around him to match that, to try to replicate that. And him being a hurdler, like, imagine this setup, right? You start building a hurdle culture, and what happens is hurdling is all about rhythm. And you got to now increase that rhythm to go faster because you have these 10 barriers that are in your way. And so now you see his athletes continue to get closer and closer, and it pushes him to get better and better.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
and that's happening across the board on our team. So Josh, obviously is one of the faces of the program, but it truly is a representation of athletes in this transfer portal age, staying committed to a culture, to a team, and wanting to leave a legacy where they're at, rather than think that, hey, the quick fix, the grass is greener on the other side mentality is better for them. So just shout out to my staff, to UNCW for all that we're doing for those kids to want to stay and want to invest and grow here.
Now, Michael Oblinger has been the athletic director for about a year now. Real interesting guy. I've had the opportunity to have him on this show a few times. What's your relationship been like with the new AD?
Yeah, it's just it's a first person, right? Yeah. It's like one of those where you talk about open door policies, but Mike is truly one of those like, yeah, let's talk. Awesome. And he may not always have, say the absolute solution in that moment, but he's always going to be receptive to kind of listen and see what you need to be able to grow. And we're feeling an immediate impact. Obviously love the energy that he's bringing. If Mike ever, obviously talks about his big three, that's the student-athlete experience, that's winning, and then us creating a sustainable model to keep that winning going. And, so when I think of those three, there is nothing but support from him to us. And, that's why, obviously excited to talk about the meet.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody out. Track is one of those, admissions is free, and that same day on campus, we've got a basketball game, we got a softball game, going on this weekend. And so, obviously just if you can stop by, come see what a track meet's all about. I'll be the MC. I'll be on the mic. So, anywhere on campus tomorrow, you'll probably hear my voice. Totally love, obviously giving the team a shout out. And the home meet is just electric. I feel like we do it in a first-class way and have a lot of people that help out to make that possible.
And I think it's really cool, too, because if somebody's listening and their kids are participating in track and field, to be able to see a high-level Division I track meet in town, not have to really travel anywhere, but to kind of see, hey, if you continue to work hard, this could be you one day, to have that tangible vision for a young student one day to become maybe a Seahawk, that's got to be really, really cool for him.
Yeah, and you talking about that, I think we gave Josh a shout out. I definitely want to take the time, and I could shout out all 66 that are are on the roster.
Yeah. We only have an hour show though.
Yeah, so all right,
have to make it quick.
Person one of 66. But no, Courtney Lyons is a direct representation of that. So from Leland, went to North Brunswick High School. She is now one of the most decorated athletes in student and in UNCW athletic history. Not even just UNCW track and field. And she decided to come back for a fifth year. COVID kind of being what it was, some of these athletes had a bonus year, and she has truly invested to give back to her team and chase obviously what she's possibly going to chase. When athletes reach that level of Josh, Courtney, and some of these high level athletes, they start to realize that hey, NCAA's and beyond. Track is one where you can line up and be in a lane next to a future Olympian. It's a sport that truly humbles you to know that if you excel, you can excel anywhere, and you can be in those races that obviously even lead all the way to the Olympics, which is crazy. From right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, you could be lining up next to somebody who's a future Olympian.
Jeff, you mentioned a lot of mantras. What are your mantras that do you try to change them up every year? Are there some that you're like, dang, that's a good one. I gotta just always have that one in my back pocket?
Yeah, consistency breeds PRs is my first one. I've been saying that I think ever since I started coaching, and I feel like I embody that daily. When you talk about just energy, and obviously what you're bringing to a room, my peers, call me Juice. Obviously like bring the juice was kind of an early mantra that we had, and it was really just because I'm always trying to pour into somebody else's cup. Always trying to overflow. Because I think when you're in that aspect of giving and starting off by being a cheerleader number one to anybody, what you do is you make it a good working environment where everybody can thrive. And, I think mantras are ones where I've got the core ones: control the controllables, consistency breeds PRs. And then the other ones happen, with the evolution, of the program.
Right.
And, I didn't get to this year's mission statement, but that was no ceilings. So like now that we've had so much success, there's absolutely no cap on where we can go and what we can do. And so like just truly trying to inspire and model and let those athletes continue to be leaders too. I think if there's any byproduct of hopefully me doing my job, it's I've got all these leaders below me, to where, I've got other experts in the room that are just continuing to push the mark. And, nothing but excited about this program, the growth and UNCW athletics and the momentum that we're building, because truly people know when we're there. We're making some noise and making an impact in the NCAA realm.
Jeff, I have to ask you, as I got a treadmill in my basement. I try to hit some cardio a couple times a week. What should I be doing, or what's a good mindset for me to have to get, put an extra couple miles, get an extra 10 minutes on that incline or something? What could me as just an average Joe be doing to try to become a more disciplined distance runner?
Yeah, and again, start.
Yeah.
You know, you might have that treadmill in the basement, but my big question would be how many times are you on it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, it's when you start putting in the hard work and you start accumulating these days, you know, stacking these days, you know, you start to unlock, you know, new levels of fitness or new levels of like, wow, I think I can do this. And, you know, if there's things you can learn from me, from the athletes, it's, you know, now what we deem, you know, obviously success within the program is we have all these different levels because of what the athletes have been able to achieve. Yeah. And so it just takes dedicating the time, being disciplined, you know, sacrificing and saying no at times to go handle yourself and be selfish, you know, to what you're trying to invest in. Because if you're not investing in that level of fitness, you're not going to grow. You know, it's, you know, and for me, as I'm trying to kind of, you know, put a picture to it, and I'm a storytelling coach too, so, you know, I'm always trying to relate. How do you take this complex thing of track and field and talk to kids about it? Yeah. I usually just use stories, and, you know, I think, you know, the more you can connect and be personal, you know, with that experience, the better and the better results you're going to get. And you want to keep coming back, you know, right. And don't do too much day one where you're done for 2 weeks, you know? So go to the consistency breeds PRs of, you know, I need you at practice every day.
Sure.
You know, don't do too much today where I don't have you for a month. You know, if I lose you for a month, we're not getting better at all, you know? So I think, and that's where athletically at times we can get greedy. Right. You know, and you can try to, you know, bite off, you know, a little bit more in that first day because you're trying to, you see this person or you see that person and you want to do exactly what they're doing, but you don't realize that they might have 4 years of training underneath their belt.
Sure.
So they can handle a lot more. So just continue to believe in your journey. And but more than anything, start and know that, you know, hey, have those conversations and keep people around you that inspire you to be better, too.
You brought up something that, first of all, now when I get home and I see my basement door, I'm going to be upset with myself if I don't. I'm going to think about you saying, start. I'll be like, I got to get down there. All right. You know, so thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for guilting me later today. I appreciate that.
Hey, it starts with the 1-on-1, right? 1-on-1, day one.
But, you know, you guys have meets every other week. You have the meet, you know, tomorrow and Saturday at UNCW. You guys can go over there. Admission's free for the home meet for the season. What's the recovery schedule like? Is it different depending on the sport, depending on the individual? You mentioned you have a meet every other week, so I assume that first week after the meet, those first couple days, you guys are just trying to be like, hey, just take it easy. Let's get you back into peaking next weekend.
Yeah, and you know, I think once you get in the flow, especially outdoor season,
sure.
You know, we have kind of that systematic plan to the week.
Okay.
You know, so say if you competed the week before, Monday is going to be kind of a flex day. Some athletes are going to be able to do some are going to do a little less, you know, but more than anything, we want to move and we want to start building to the next week of training.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday across the board is a money-making day for us. You know, it's going to be a hard day because we want to front load the beginning part of the week to allow us to kind of prepare again for the weekend. So, you know, Tuesday becomes a really core day for every event group. Wednesday, you know, at times we kind of call that an athlete day. You know, some may need to work on some weaknesses or do some drills. You know, so Wednesday becomes, you know, recovery, becomes, you know, a little extra work, you know, really dependent on that athlete. You know, sometimes our higher level athletes need to do less rather than do more, and some of our athletes that are trying to be better, you know, need to get a little bit more work or that extra run in on Wednesday. And Thursday's a pre-meet, and then we're back to Friday, Saturday competing. So, you know, it's these gains and these things are always made in the off season. You know, you hear that all the time, but especially in track, because once we get to this point, the thing we're trying to do is just make sure we're sharp for competition after competition and, you know, being happy, healthy, and motivated. I talk about things in threes because I always think, you know, once I go 4, 5, 6, I lose people. So, you know, I'm always talking to college students, so I got to make sure I'm a ninja with my words. And but if we can go into the meet happy, healthy, and motivated, you know, we're in a pretty good spot. While obviously always understanding there's going to not be an absolute fresh factor because you're still trying to prepare for more championship meets later on, but you know, that's our layout.
No, the rule of three, that as a part-time stand-up comic myself, like that's what you want to do. You're doing the right thing by, you know, 3. You know, you happy, healthy, and you know, you got to do that. You got to keep it like that. So tomorrow and Saturday got meets events going on all day.
Yeah, and so Friday, if I talk about the 2 days,
yes.
So Friday we got the long throws.
Okay.
So if you're looking to see some hammer, you know, some javelin, you know, those are like the implements of war. You want to see those things fly far.
You're getting very excited thinking about the throwing events.
Man, I got goosebumps right there. You know, and then we have the distance running events. So, you know, we've got the hammer starts at 9. Distance running starts at 12, you know, and then the track meet will finish at 5 on Friday. And then Saturday truly is like, you know, the day. You know, if you're looking to kind of, you know, pick, you know, a day to come out with the kids, it's track meet will start at 10. Okay. We'll celebrate our seniors at Senior Day, and then we'll actually have the running events. So field events start at 10. That's long jump, triple jumps, you know, all that, the pole vault, high jump, shot put, discus. So there's a lot going on in the infield. And then around the oval, the running events will go ahead and start at 12. And that goes, you know, the relays all the way to the 1,500 and down. So we'll have like the 100-meter dash all the way up to the 1,500-meter run, hurdles, jumps, sprints. And, you know, as we go throughout the day, I'll give a bunch of shout-outs. We're going to be welcoming back our alumni. So, Hawk, you know, shout-out to all the Seahawk alums that are here in town. And then we're actually inducting 4 tremendous members into our UNCW Track and Field Hall of Fame.
Awesome. That's awesome. What a weekend it's going to be at UNCW. Support the Seahawks and support a program that is definitely on that upward trajectory. You guys, you know, from all accounts, you know, you're talking about this program is on the rise, and I'm excited to see where it goes, man.
Hey, no ceilings. Let's see where we go.
No ceilings. Jeff, thanks for your time, buddy. I appreciate it. No ceilings. Jeff, thanks for your time, buddy. I appreciate it. No ceilings. Jeff, thanks for your time, buddy. I appreciate it.